mighty nation and mix his seed in the world with an adopted and saved Gentile. No, Yahweh says, I'm not going to do it through an adopted, saved Gentile. I'm going to do it through your own bowels, through your own loins. Look at verse 6, and here's when Abraham got saved. Look, notice, don't miss this now. Listen now, right here. Don't miss this, notice. 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 Noticias, nuevas. Canal 23. Guillermo, ¿qué pasa, Guillermo? And he believed Telemundo in the word of Yahweh. And Yahweh counted it to Abraham as tzedakah.
Wow. Hallelujah.
You know how Abraham got saved? He believed that every nation, every family, every ethnicity, every race, every village, every hamlet would have his DNA. And because he was crazy enough to believe that, and how many folks are going to come out of Jacob's loins? You throw away the calculator, it won't work. Count the stars, you don't need a calculator. You don't need a word processor, it ain't going to process. The word will process, but your word processor is worthless. Let my word process and get rid of the word processor. Process my word. What is a word? What is the word of promise? In you all nations will be blessed. Nivrahu, through mixing. Yahweh gives you the blessing, and then he tells you how he will command the blessing. Through mixing, assimilation, and nivrahu. You getting this? That word is not a variant of bless. Yivrechu, yivarechechu, yivarechu, mivarech. No. Yahweh gets rid of the yud, the first letter yud, and puts in a nun. This is too heavy. So how did Abraham get saved, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters? How did Abraham get saved? He believed the word, and Yahweh counted it to him as tzedakah. Where else do we see that? Go back, please, to Galut. Is anyone enjoying?
Amen.
Let's try that side of the room. Is anyone enjoying?
Yes. Hallelujah. Yes.
Galut. What does Galut means? Well, you know, I believe the Apostle Paul was sent to Asia Minor and to rescue those heathen pagan Galatians. Time out! Slow down! Stop right there! I gotta know right now before we go any further, do you love me? Do you keep my commandments? Galut means, no, I'm not meatloaf, so chill out. Galut means Galut, exile of Yah, in Asia Minor. These were the Ephraimite nations, the exiles of Yah. And Rav Shaul went to Galut Yah, and he said, do you have the faith of Abraham? Let's talk, be honest, before you came into this knowledge of the two-house truth and the restoration of Israel and the restoration of the Torah and the Shabbat and all the more, before you came into this truth and you started seeing yourself as part of the physical people of Israel, did you believe what Abraham believed? I think not, because your mind was cluttered and clogged and polluted with broadcasting that told you you were lucky to be saved as a Gentile, and to stop complaining because you're in. Even though you're not Jewish, stop complaining, you're in, but you'll never be an Israelite. See, that frustrates Ephraim because he's confronted with something that he cannot change. If I keep rubbing it in your face that you're not Jewish, and no matter what you do, that is a situation that you cannot change, and that's what Jewish believers do in Messianic Jewish congregations. They keep rubbing it in the face of the non-Jewish members that they can't do the Torah, that their rabbi can never be an Ephraimite, he must be Jewish. That's why we don't go to a Messianic Jewish congregation, and that's why we don't call ourselves a Messianic Jewish congregation.
Hallelujah.
Well, Rabbi, how do I know you're right? Okay, I'm wrong. Keep going to the Messianic Jewish congregation, and they'll keep telling you can't touch the Torah because you're not Jewish. You can sweep the floor and clean the toilets, but you can't get up here and preach and be the rabbi, because after all, we know that Yahweh only calls Jews to be rabbis. No, pardon me, I don't know that. There's 10 tribes of Israel that were never called Jews, and Yahweh calls rabbis from among them also.
Amen. Hallelujah.
An Ephraimite can be a rabbi. An Ephraimite can keep the Torah. An Ephraimite can read from the Torah. An Ephraimite can do an aliyah from the Torah.
Yes.
Amen.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Somebody in the house of Yahweh today. Galut Yah 3. Galut Yah 3. Galut Yah 3. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Go to verse 5. He that supplies you with the Ruach HaKodesh. Galatians 3:5. He that supplies you. Turn to your neighbor and say, I'm supplied.
I'm supplied.
Not surprised, supplied.
Supplied.
I'm supplied.
I'm supplied.
Think of Yahweh as the ace, the man with the ace hardware man.
Hallelujah.
Think of Yahweh as the ace man with the man with the mace, with the mace with the mace, ace with the man with the ace with the mace, and the ace hardware man. Yahweh says, I will supply you, notice, with the Ruach HaKodesh, and with that Ruach HaKodesh will work great miracles among you. And let me ask you a question, Rav Shul says. When the Ruach HaKodesh comes and does miracles, does he do it by the works of land's law, stating you can't do this, you can't do this, you must do this? Does he do it by the works of law? That doesn't mean Torah. The term works of law is a Hebrew expression for man's made-up commandments, man's made-up stuff, man's made-up regulations, man's made-up things. Those came from Jerusalem to Galut Yah, and they said, if you're not circumcised first and join our club, our sect of Judaism, and do all the works of the law as outlined in our bylaws, you can't be saved. That term, works of law, appears nowhere in the Torah. Did you know that? The entire book of Galatians can be understood if we understand that the term works of law is not referring to the Torah of Yahweh, it's referring to those laws in the bylaws from that Jewish sect that wasn't saved, and or that believed that you had to be circumcised to be saved, or Jewish to be a rabbi, or Jewish to hold the Torah, or part of their group to experience the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. These are works of law, and Rav Shul says no man, Abraham, Isaac, or Yaakov, was ever saved by the works of law. The Greek word nomos can mean a whole bunch of things, actually. Can mean agricultural law, can mean farming laws, can mean driving laws, can mean laws of marriage and remarriage, can mean any law. It doesn't mean the law, the Torah. Not one of you can get saved by works of law, because every sect has their own works of law. Or we say today, works of the bylaw. They have a whole bunch of bylaws they want you to follow. Can I get a witness? Amen. I said, can I get a witness?
Amen.
There are a whole bunch of bylaws they want you to follow. But Abraham didn't get saved by keeping bylaws. He didn't get saved by realizing he was having a reproduction problem with his wife. And that God, Yahweh, was his shield and his great reward and his healer. No, 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 no. All those things are true. You know how Abraham got saved? Here it is. It's reiterated here in Galut Yah 3:5. The one who supplies you. Turn to your neighbor and say, supplies you. Supplies you. Talking about the man, the Yahweh, like the ace man, the hardware man, the ace man. He's the ace. He's your ace. He's our ace. He's my ace. Amen? Amen. He's the ace. He is. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Watch this. Abraham believed Yahweh, verse 6. And Yahweh counted it to him for tzedakah, so that those who are of the emunah, the faith of Abraham, they are b'nei Abraham. In order to be b'nei Abraham, you don't have to be physically Jewish. You better have the faith. You better believe what Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov believed. And what did Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov believe? That he can take my non-Hebraic, non-Jewish zerah sperm and fill the nations and turn every family, every village, every hamlet, every race, every ethnicity, every corner, everybody on earth has the DNA of Jacob. That's what Abraham believed, and he got saved. That's what Isaac believed, and he got saved. That's what Jacob believed, and he got saved. But I got a whole bunch of folks, and I got to cast out that spirit. I got to take authority over that spirit of Esau, because they come right out of a religious system that tells them that what Rabbi Moshe teaches is not important. Well, not only is it important, the fact that Yahweh has never had a saved Gentile in his quiver. Never. It's getting quiet now. Yahweh has his quiver full of children, does he not? Children are a heritage from Yahweh, and blessed are those who have their quiver full. Yes. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Yahweh has his quiver full.